Hi everyone, it's Marian. Welcome to my Wasteless Life. In this video, let's do a mid-year plant check. Thank you so much for joining me today, and if you're new, this is my Wasteless Life, where I take you along my plant and sustainable lifestyle journey and share with you some of my tips and tricks along the way. The first half of the year is over. It's July, or by the time you're watching this, it is July. So I thought this will be a good time to do a mid-year plant check. Lots of new plant parents started their journey during quarantine, but now that things are going back to normal, people are going back to their jobs, to school, working back full-time, starting to travel again. I myself am going for a family vacation next week, so I thought this will be a good time to do a check-in. So lots of new plant parents who got into the plant hobby over quarantine. You got plants who have something to occupy you during all the free time you suddenly have, you to learn a new skill, and honestly just have something to keep you sane while in lockdown. And I totally get that. But now that your lifestyle is getting busier again, you're worried what to do with your houseplants, or if a plant hobby is something that you can continue to have. And I would say this as someone who started my plant journey before COVID. A lot of us got into the plant hobby and started our plant journey because we wanted a break from that busy lifestyle, to have a break from the monotony of everyday life. And having a plant hobby and starting our plant journey allowed us to reconnect with nature without having to drive for hours to go to places to hike or spend a weekend go camping just to be able to reconnect with nature. With plants, we could take a few minutes of our day, of our week, to take care of our plants as a form of self-care. So if you're worried that you have to give up your plants now that everything's going back to normal or your life is getting busy again, you don't have to. You might have to make some changes here and there. I would make videos in the future on how to make that transition and make that changes, but we can't do that until we find out where exactly we are in our plant journey. And with me, I'm only doing the check-in for the first half of the year, since I do this every year, but now I'm adding a mid-year check just so I'm not surprised at the end of the year why I have so many plants and why I'm so overwhelmed with taking care of my house plants over the winter. So let's go ahead and get started. So first, the number of new plants that I've gotten so far this year. So I've gotten about 17 plants this year, and I've given myself a limit of 20 new plants this year, so I'm hitting it really close. But out of those 17 plants, 9 of them I bought with my own money, and 9 of those plants that I bought, one is already dead, which is the pink polka dot plant, and one I still have seeding because I didn't buy the actual plant. I only bought the seeds for it because it's for a rare plant. I don't want to say what it is just in case it will actually germinate, but it's been 6 months and still hasn't germinated yet, although the instructions said it might take up to a year before it actually germinates. So we will see. So that's why I'm kind of like holding off, but if it doesn't germinate at all, then I will let you know by the end of the year what I got. And also one is still propagating, which is the Synapsis Silver Hero. If you've watched my plant import fail video, then you'll know what happened with that one, as well as the Synapsis Exotica, or it might be a silver splash. According to a couple of you, it could be a silver splash, and one of those is already dead as well, which is the Synapsis lucens. That one is gone. And the rest are plants that I got through trades or gotten for free. So there's 8 of them in total, and I have 2 that are still propagating, which is the ones that I've gotten from the plant swap, the Aprepenum pinnatum and the Philodendron Rio Silver Stripe. So minus the dead plants and minus those that are propagating, don't know yet if they'll actually become plants. Effectively, I've only gotten 12 new plants this year, so I still can get 8 more new plants for the rest of the year. Plants that I've killed, I killed quite a few plants this year. I've killed my Fittonia, and usually Fittonia plants, they are very dramatic. They look like they're dying if you don't water them. When you water them, they perk back up, but this time I think I might have pushed it too far, and when I watered it, it didn't perk back up, so I considered it dead. And as mentioned earlier, the pink polka dot plant, I bought that back in February. It only lasted about a month in my care because kind of the same situation. I forgot to water it. When I did, it never really perked back up, so I just threw it away. And I've also lost my Hoya albo marginata. I've been trying to propagate that ever since I've got it in my plant import from Thailand last year. It started out as 6 leaves, it just became 2 leaves in the end, down to 1 leaf, and it just died. It didn't survive the propagation. My last attempt in propagating it, I did overwater it and forgot to take it off the watering tray, so that was my bad. So that plant died and is no longer with me. Another plant that I killed is the pink sigonium and the calathea white fusion. At first I tried planting them outside just to see if they'll be able to grow outdoors. They didn't, they died, so I ended up killing that, as well as the Peperomia obstifolia. I was propagating that earlier this year. If you've seen my propagating in soilless mediums video, I was able to trade that plant during the plant swap, but I still had some parts of it propagating with me, and I also kind of tried doing the same thing, planted outside. They did survive, it died. And I had 2 Rhaphidophora tetrasperma that were suffering from root rot. One of them did survive, and as you can see in a previous video, that it's doing really well, but the other one didn't make it, and that one also died. So I have killed quite a number of plants this year so far, and hopefully that is not a continuing trend for the rest of the year. Plants that I've sold so far, I actually haven't been selling lots of plants this year compared to last year, but I did sell a couple of plants. One is the Monstera celtipicana, which I sold while I was at the plant swap, but I used the money from selling that to buy the variegated string of pearls. So that is more kind of a swap, not really a sale. And then recently I sold my small Cebu blue pothos to a Instagram follower who also lived in my state. She's been looking for a Cebu blue pothos, cannot find it in our area. It's really hard to find. I found mine 2 years ago at Lowe's, never saw it again, and never saw it at any other place, even in any nursery or garden center. Never saw a Cebu blue pothos again. So yeah, so she was looking for one, and I had an extra small one, so I sold it to her for $10. So that's pretty much the plants that I sold. I do have a couple more plants that I do want to put up for sale, but I'm probably not going to do that until the end of summer, early fall, when they are ready to be sold. Plants that I've given up on. So there's quite a number of plants that I've given up on. For some of them, it's because they are duplicates and I really just want plant of each right now. And some of them I just didn't really like and shouldn't have bought in the first place. So the first one is the Ficus benjaminus Snow White. I really love that plant, but the thing is I am having problems with that ficus plant that I never had with my other ficus plants. Like, I never experienced falling leaves with my other ficus plants, but this one is constantly falling leaves. It always wants water, but when I water it, the leaves fall off, and it's pretty much in the same state as it was when I first bought it. So I haven't really seen any progress with this plant, so I'm thinking of getting rid of it, or I could give it away and see if someone else has better luck with it, see if they could rescue that plant. And another one is the Philodendron Xanadu. I got that last December because it was on sale, and that's really why I bought it. It was on sale, but I wasn't really into the plant. Now it is outside growing, but come fall winter time, it's probably not going to go back in. So that is a plant that I'm either just going to let die outside over the winter, or I'm also going to give away to one of my neighbors. And that's also the same story for my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma tissue culture. It is the one that I first got before I got my RT right now, and that one is also not doing well and haven't been doing well for quite some time. It did suffer from the mosaic virus, and it has lost a lot of leaves from the base up, and it has new growth, but it's not really looking very pretty. And like I said, I already have an RT that's not a tissue culture, and that one is a tissue culture, so I'm not really very interested in it anymore. But right now it is outside in the backyard trying to live its life in peace, hopefully. A couple more plants that I am giving up on, or actually have already given away, are the spider plant propagations and the Pilea prepamoides propagations that I did a few videos back. And I still have the mother plants though, and I'm thinking of also giving those up as well. We'll see if I bring in more plants, which I probably would in the future, then I will have to give up those plants. What are the plant products that I tried out this year? So last year I did try out a lot of plant products, but this year I didn't really want to spend a lot of money on plant products. So far I've only tried out 3. One is vermiculite, which I've been really loving as a propagating medium, as well as a soil amendment, which is a great alternative for perlite if you want to try something else aside from perlite, whether as a soil amendment for drainage or for propagation. And I've also tried a new soil mix, which is a premium soil mix, which is the arid mix from the Victorian Atlanta. I've been really loving that soil. I've been using it for my more rare plants like my Thai Constellation Monstera, my Syngonium albo, my Anthurium clarinervium, and I've been really loving it. It's a sustainable soil mix and it only costs $10, but the catch is the shipping. The shipping costs a lot more than the actual product. It is coming from Georgia and it's in a pretty big heavy bag, and that's the only thing. I wish they were closer to me, or I wish that they could ship the soil mix to me for a lot cheaper, but it is a heavy product. It is soil mix. It's something that I cannot be constantly buying, but it's something that I probably would purchase again in the future because I really like it. And the third plant product that I've been loving and tried this year is the Foliage Pro by DynaPro. It's a multi-purpose liquid plant food. So basically I use it to fertilize my house plants, give my plants in like nutrients, and also use it to make foliage spray for my orchid plants. And it's been working out really well. My plants love it, and it's just so easy to provide nutrients and fertilizer for my house plants, just using one product instead of using multiple products. When it comes to plant care tools, this is currently my favorite just because of this nozzle. I got this as part of the Midyear grow frame, which was gifted to me by the company. But I love the grow frame, but this is the one that I was really excited about, and I didn't think I'll be excited about a nozzle. But this one just makes it easy for me to top off plants that I'm propagating in water, or just water plants that I am not ready to water yet, but they already need a little bit of watering. So I use this to give them a little bit water on top until I can actually go ahead and water them properly. And this one has been a lifesaver in many occasions, and I really enjoy this. And so I really like this plant care tool. This has gotten a lot of use from me. New plant accessories that I got this year, I feel like that I've spent more on plant accessories this year than I have on the actual plants, and that's mostly, I think, on the planters that I've gotten this year. I did get quite a few of them, even though I was just getting them from Marshalls and Ross and TJ Maxx. They do add up, the $7, $10 here and there, but I really like those planters and they really match my aesthetic, and my plants are happy in them. And of course I got the metal plant hanging stand from the Hilton Carter by Target collection, which I'm also loving. And not only it makes a good decorative wall piece, it's also a very good propagation set, and I've been propagating lots of plants on it and they've been doing well so far. And of course I got a new grow light, which is the Spider Farmer SF600 grow light, which was gifted to me. And I know I did quite a few sponsored videos with them, but I really like the grow light. I was going to take it down after I have done the series of videos that I did for them, but I still have them up because my plants really love being under that grow light, and I'm keeping my propagations in there because I just find that the root growth is a lot faster while being under that grow light. So I'm still gonna keep it on until the end of the month, and after that I'll probably gonna keep it and then just put it back up during winter time when I need supplementary lights for my houseplants. Okay, alright, so we're almost done. Plant journey highs and lows. So my plant journey high this year is being able to downsize my plant collection down to 75 right now. I do have a spreadsheet of all the plants that I currently own and how many duplicates of the plants I have and which plants that I could give up right now or eventually. And that has helped me keep track with the number of plants that I have and which plants that I really love and which plants that I could let go down the road. and that has really helped me to create my house plants and really focus on the growth of each of my house plants more and pay attention to them more and enjoy them more overall, which was something that I'm really happy about. So there's still some plants that I could give away by just giving up or selling them, but like I mentioned earlier, I'm probably not gonna sell plants until the end of summer, early fall, definitely after I come back from my trip from Chicago. That's when I'm gonna focus on trying to give up the remaining plants that I have to give up by either just giving them away or selling them or trading with them. And I've also been keeping track of my plant purchases and trades. So I've been really good so far with sticking to only 20 new plants this year. I think I'll be able to make it, but we will see. And I've also set myself a budget of spending only $450 on plants the entire year. And so far I have spent $191. So I still have about $250 to spend on plants. If I don't have to spend all of that, if I could spend less than $200 for the rest of the year, I'll be really happy, since I can't add that much plants into my collection anymore anyways, so there's no reason to be spending all that money on plants. But of course, if I find a wishlist plant, which I hope to find when I go to Chicago and do my plant shop tours over there, those videos and vlogs are going to be coming up in the coming weeks, so do watch out for that. So unless I do find a wishlist plant during my trip and it's gonna cost me a bit of money, then yeah, I'll spend the money on it. But hopefully I'm not gonna spend no more than $250 for the rest of the plants that I'm going to be buying for the rest of the year. For my plant journey lows, I have to admit that I still do feel overwhelmed with the amount of plants that I have, even though I have downsized considerably and I have decluttered a lot of my plants. I still do think I have quite a bit of them, but I'm also coming to the point that it is getting harder to decide which plant I should keep and which plant I should give up. Even for some of my duplicate plants that I have, that I'm still having a hard time letting go, even though I have duplicates of them. And I know I have to make a decision on them sooner or later, but I just have to make a decision that would make me happy. And because I know in the past I did regret giving up some of the plants that I end up giving up at that time. So I just want to make sure that the plants that I'm giving up are the plants that I really want to give up, and not just because I'm feeling overwhelmed or frustrated at the time that I decided to let them go. So last question, what are my plans for the rest of the year? I kind of talked about this a little bit already. I am going to be selling and giving up some more plants by the end of the summer, early fall. And I also want to be able to fulfill my 2021 plant goals, which is to stay around 70 to 75 plants by the end of the year. Hopefully under 70, but I don't think that would happen since I am going to be adding more plants to my plant collection. I know I will by the time I come back from Chicago, and also I tend to go on a plant shopping spree during fall. I don't know why, but I want to make sure that I stay within my 20 new plants limit for the year. And if I'm going to bring in more plants to my plant collection, I have to give up some of the plants that I'm not quite in love with anymore, or I should be letting go, and because they're duplicates and whatnot. But yeah, that is my mid-year plant check. Hope that was helpful for you as it was for me. And if you are doing your own mid-year plant check, please let me know down in the comments. Answer some of the questions or all of them if you'd like, or share your answers on your own social media, and make sure to tag me, whether on YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. I would love to find out your answers. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new here, I hope you subscribe. I come up with houseplants and sustainable lifestyle videos every week, and if you haven't yet, go check out these videos up here until my next one. But until then, I see you, I appreciate you, take care of yourself and each other, and have a plentiful day. Bye.